Welcome to the weekly. I'm Jeremy.
I'm Matt.
Hey, Matt.
Hello.
So Chris is sick this week, so Matt is on the TV in the 80s. So little indie heat inspiration coming at you. But this week on the weekly. So first we'll start with our tariff talk kind of segment, the Tales of the Trade Wars. Then Warmachine Mk4. We talked a little bit about that and the My Mini Factory connection. Roll20 and Demiplane integration. Halo Flashpoint gets its own app. And the Foundry creator talks about AI. So first... Oh, no sound. No, there it is. Yep, we're getting a bumper, sorry. And we're talking. Boom, all right, the trade wars continue. I guess we've got 3 months of this, so I'll get 90 days out of that bumper. But the update we have is the Pacific Legal Foundation is the group that is working with various companies to sue the federal government, the U.S. federal government. So they have filed a lawsuit on behalf of Stonemaier Games and other small businesses, and they're contesting the legality of these recent tariffs. But what they're also seeking is reimbursement. So they're seeking funds to compensate these companies for tariffs that they have paid, because they're questioning the legality of it and their ability to do it, because what is happening now is Trump is using Biden's International Emergency Economic Powers Act to impose these tariffs, and it's a little confusing because that's supposed to be something that is invoked during a national emergency. These are like emergency funds and emergency powers, and I guess it was probably pandemic based, but now it's being used to start a trade war. So yes, so the tariffs and imports specifically from China. So Stonemaier Games is probably the biggest, one of the biggest players that in board games that we know about, and so this is this act was used against any unusual or extraordinary threat to national security, but it doesn't mention tariffs. There's no wording for tariffs, and so they're seeking a refund of tariffs paid and also limits on presidential authority. The law firm describes itself as a public interest law firm that defends Americans' liberties when threatened by government overreach and abuse. So some of the members of this lawsuit, so Jamie Stegmaier of Stonemaier Games, they're famous for Wingspan and Scythe. They started basically 2012 on Kickstarter. Rebecca Melsky and Ava St. Clair, who run Princess Awesome and Boy Wonder clothing line. So they're obviously producing in China and having some and other countries and being confronted with this. Quent Cordair of Quent Cordair Fine Art is basically importing art from multiple countries. So they have several countries that they support artists internationally with. They're based in California, and so now they're facing tariffs just importing the art. Peter Paulin, 300 Below Inc. Is doing metal fabrication, so it has a technology that extends the life of metal, and I was also facing import struggles to get materials into the country. So the law firm says that tens of thousands of American businesses may be affected by this. So their lawsuit may grow as people are actually paying these funds and want them to be paying these tariffs and having them reproduced. They are representing these clients at no charge. So at the Pacific Legal Fund, Jamie, Rebecca, Ava, Quint, Linda, and Pete are giving free legal services to combat government interference against business. So that's a little more, detail about what was going on. I think we didn't know exactly who else was involved and what the law firm was that was responsible for this lawsuit. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see if they do get reimbursed, and if this sets a precedent that it may be very interesting. Everybody will have to pay these big tariffs, and then they'll sue the government to get it back.
Yeah, and maybe because that's quite a varied group of people in that lawsuit. So maybe there'll be more that jump into it. Hopefully, and at least at the very least, I think we talked about this before. It might get a stay on the tariffs, and it'll get a lot of hopefully media attention to the whole problem.
Right. Or it'll just get some judges arrested, it seems to be how it's going. All right. Well, we'll keep you updated. Any details that come out. And like Matt mentioned before the cast, a couple of kind of classic companies are suffering. And a lot of companies, it looks like Matt mentioned WizKids, they are kind of clearing out on-hand inventory to generate revenue to pay these tariffs, to stay afloat. So there's probably a lot of deals being made. And also, I saw just on a forum post, people are saying that Amazon is showing a lot of tabletop RPG books sold out. Like almost everything on hand at Amazon is being sold out. So people are kind of panic buying, worried that there's not going to be any second printing, third printing of some of these books. So if you want it, get it now. And probably people are also hoarding because they grab it off of Amazon and put it right back on Amazon for, triple the price. So we're going to see a little bit of that, the America's classic hoarding maneuver in the aftermath. Yeah.
I'm not going to lie, because, filming this unboxing video that I'm editing right now, it's just a box full of different old games, and it crossed my mind. I was like, some of this would probably sell pretty decent on eBay right now. Yeah, and then oh my gosh, one of the guys, and this is a tangent. Sorry, one of the guys in our game group. You familiar with those lit RPG books? The big one right now is that Dungeon Crawl Carl.
Yes.
Yeah. So that guy originally did like sort of a print-on-demand version of those books.
Oh, right.
Now they're so popular that they have official, like, published, from a real publisher and everything. Yeah. Well, one of the guys in our group bought all of the books in the original self-published versions, and he sold them, the set, for $1,600.
Oh my God, that's insane. I was like,
that's insane.
Yeah, and I guess if it was far back enough, maybe the quality was decent and maybe better than what they're doing now. But I wouldn't think that print on demand. Those books are not made to last. So interesting. Yeah. So
the way he described them, they were just softback.
Yeah.
Very simple glue bind books.
But they're a collector's item now because there's and probably it's going to be a feature film or it's a streaming series or something.
Maybe.
I think it's getting some sort of attention. So now there's going to be a big Netflix sticker, Amazon sticker on the book. So you definitely would like the original. And that's funny because usually with publishing there's a first edition, first edition, and that would be a print on demand, self-published in this case. That's very funny.
If I was Goodman Games, I'd be really pissed off because all the fans call it DCC. And that's like their thing, You
like DCC too? Yeah, me too. I just paid $1,600 for a set of books. Yeah, the funny thing about print on demand is it would be very easy to fake that. There's no like authentication. There's no if you could get a hold of if you bought a PDF or found a PDF floating around on the internet of that original print on demand book, you could print it on demand. So there's not a way to kind of legitimately no. That's great though that somebody was that excited about that. People are crazy. But let's talk about something that's not crazy. This is a little crazy. There's some fanaticism, there's some energy behind something that I'm really surprised by. So Warmachine, we talked about Steamforged Games picking them up, and initially that didn't excite me. I just thought, it sounds kind of like a defeat, like Privateer Press is giving up, saying we can't really do this. And probably the timing is good for Privateer Press because this would have put them under if they would have continued to try to produce plastics in China, miniatures on sprues in China at this time, while they were having trouble financially. But Steamforged Games is moving ahead really hard with Warmachine. So I think it's definitely the biggest property that they have that they're managing. They have a lot of board game IP licenses, Dark Souls and Monster Hunter, and they've got a lot of stuff going on. But they obviously have the logistics and the supply chain to do good plastic. And they're going to do an AMA on the wargamer.com Discord. So May 8th. It's a pretty good list. The CEO and co-founder, the creative director and co-founder, the product owner, art director, and product owner are all going to be there. So Rich Loxham and Matt Hart will be present, the two co-founders of Steamforged, to talk about kind of their plans with Warmachine. And they are already seriously backing a competitive scene. They've already announced what they're calling the Welch Masters 2025. This is kind of a pre-qualifier for it's a gauntlet qualifier for Lock and Loaded EU 2026. So you're running 2 100-point lists of and 6 intense rounds of play. So that was the thing that I think got Warmachine to prominence versus Warhammer. I don't know if they can repeat that success, because Warhammer has gigantic tournaments and they've got their big painting competitions and stuff. So it's going to be hard to rival that. But I think the competitive scene is where you get people drawn into the hobby, and you get a lot of, promotion on social media and YouTube and things. So this might be a good move. And if you're fans of Warmachine, it's nice to see it resurrected like this. So if you watch, the timing is going to be 11 a.m. Eastern time, 8 a.m. Pacific, and 4 p.m. BST, I think is British time. I think Steamforged Games is based in England. So 4 p.m. there on May 8th. And they'll be giving away some Shadows and Scum starter sets if you need some Shadows or Scum. That's the Chimera and Southern Creoles, so kind of the troll. Trollkin buccaneer pirates. They're pretty comical, and great sculpts. And the Chimera kind of like a mechanical demonic force. But so I just did a video at the end of April to kind of promote their tribe, which is basically a version of kind of Patreon that Steamforged is doing with Warmachine. So they're going to be doing something very similar to what Mantic is doing with their digital subscription. This is going to be based at My Mini Factory, but it's going to give you alternate sculpts, new models, a lot of really great thematic terrain, and also parts to customize, like the Warjacks, some of the larger models that can be equipped with different weapons. So you can do a lot of magnetizing and swapping out. They're also doing a mini crate, which is a collector's subscription service. This is not through My Mini Factory. This is directly from Steamforged Games. But they're doing a custom character individual sculpt. I think it runs about 14 pounds, 15 pounds. And every month they're going to do a new character that's only going to be produced through this subscription. So they're doing a lot of promotion to support. And their digital subscription on My Mini Factory, the Tribe, will correspond with their physical releases. So whatever the faction is that's getting their new boxes, their new releases, the parts that come out that month and the alternative sculpts will match those. So when you decide your faction and go in, then if you subscribe for that month on My Mini Factory, you get a lot of supported bits and some thematic terrain, some scenic bases, all kinds of good stuff. So I was really happy to see that. And just me talking about the tribe on My Mini Factory for Warmachine got some attention on YouTube. So I think there's an audience for that. There's an audience that wants to look at stuff other than 40K and something. This is it's more skirmish level. It's a lot more playful in the theming. It's fantasy. It's knights in armor and dragons, but steampunk as well. So it's kind of like a modern sensibility, but the technology has kind of been frozen by magic and warfare. So it's not grimdark at all. It's a lot more playful in its theming. So it's just like fantasy kingdoms, steampunk kingdoms, like firing rockets and machine guns and magic at each other with steam powered war machines. So black powder and steam.
Yeah, I've never played it. I'm looking at the models right now. The sculpts look really nice.
Yeah. They did kind of a refresh of everything. So a lot of the older models were more realistic, like real the human scale, and it looks like their newer stuff, they're going for that chunky heroic scale, so more 30 millimeter opposed to 28, and big fists, fists as big as hands, and kind of real chunky body armor and stuff. So they have a nice look. They look very paintable. They look gorgeous painted. So it's good to see it back. And the great thing about it is they're not playing that game that Games Workshop does with Warhammer, where they try to fuck you with the rules and make money just you buying endless Chinese hardcover books to play the damn game. There's a Warmachine app for free. All the army building, all the lists, everything is there. They're constantly updating it with releases. Yeah. So basically, you have each of you has a smartphone. You'll build a list on it. You pull out the models and you play, because you basically can track everything, health and damage and points and everything on the app. It's really well done. Mm-hmm. So you have full rules. So the only thing you're not getting is basically lore and setting. They released there's a Kickstarter for an Iron Kingdoms kind of 5e compatible tabletop RPG, and that has a huge lore book of itself that kind of brings you, current to the, kind of state of affairs, the history of the setting, and so there are places, and there's some good lore videos online, and some good websites to catch up on that. So I'm not sure if they're ever going to produce a physical rule book for the game with lore, because they have this like always updated, always live rule set with the the miniature stat lines and everything. So good to see. Mm-hmm. Good to see them doing that. And if you want to stay even more online with everything you're doing tabletop-wise, we got some news that Roll20 and Demiplane, their integration, the beta for their integration is live. So Roll20 purchased Demiplane, the rules compendium platform, in June of 2024. And they launched a public beta now for their integration between the two. So what the heck does this mean? So Demiplane launched in 2019. It was very much like D&D Beyond, but not for D&D. So it's like, every other game system, Pathfinder, basically anything you'd want to play, Vampire the Masquerade, Marvel, Multiverse, even Alien is on there. There's a few of the Free League licensed RPGs that are on there. So it's, a digital... What are they calling it? A rules compendium platform. You have a character sheet. You do character creation. All the rules are there. You can basically learn how to play the game and everything digitally. Gorgeous interface, like really nice, well done, like D&D Beyond. And that's because co-creator Adam Bradford of D&D Beyond joined the team in 2021. So his expertise that established D&D Beyond when it was owned by Fandom. Before it was sold to Wizards, was responsible for its success. That sold. I don't remember if we ever reported this number. This is a crazy number. D&D Beyond sold for $146 million to Wizards. Wow. That's insane for a digital character sheet rules platform. I mean, it was really well done, but come on. They might have had a lot of customer data. They probably paid that money for the customer data. That would be the value, is my guess. So currently, Demiplane supports 14 games, like I said, including Pathfinder 2nd Edition, Vampire the Masquerade, Marvel Multiverse, and Alien. And they're all... at the present, though, cross-platform integration is only live for 6 of the 14 games that they support. So how is this going to work? So Roll20, what they called in the article, the most popular VTT and the oldest, or one of the oldest, doesn't mean the best. It doesn't mean it's usable. Doesn't mean it's not frustrating as hell and ugly as hell. They really need a quality control on their content. Roll20 is really blowing it with how disappointing their content is, their pre-purchase content. But if you purchase something on Roll20 that also exists on Demiplane, you get both. So that's the big integration. So Roll20 has already purchased Dungeon Scrawl to incorporate that into the platform. So now and also Roll20 is the one that's supporting the kind of drag and drop integration with drive-through RPG. So if you buy something on drive-through, you can drop it into Roll20. Dungeon Scroll is in there, and now Demiplane. So from Roll20, when we first set out to connect Demiplane and Roll20, the vision was clear: make it easier than ever for players and GMs to bring their characters to life wherever they play. Today's public beta launch is a big step towards delivering on that vision. So they're calling this connected play. So Demiplane characters are not locked into that platform. You can port them over to Roll20. You just have to link your accounts. So fewer barriers, cross-platform sync, shared subscription benefits. So this has been live since February. And what they're doing is they're trying to, however you play, they're trying to get you to use, this service in some way, whether you're playing in person or online. You can connect and create a Demiplane account and then link it to your Roll20. If you're a subscriber on Roll20, you get a lot of benefit from that. The linked accounts, you can use content that you've unlocked either on Roll20 or Demiplane. So basically you have to buy the rule book in one of those places, but then you have it in both. And so that syncs. You can share content with up to 24 people and unlimited character creation if you're a Roll20 subscriber. And some of the working RPGs right now are the Alien RPG, Candela Obscura, Cyberpunk Red, the Marvel Multiverse game, Pathfinder 2e, and Vampire. So that's what's supported. And also, if you're a subscriber, there are 2,000 data fields available for use in mod scripts and macros. If you have the highest level, I think on Roll20, you can do a lot of scripting and really get things running great if you happen to have that kind of time. But nope. Yeah, so that's interesting. That's a interesting news. They keep. So this shows you that WotC really dropped the ball, not taking over the VTT market, because it looks like Roll20 is just going to start absorbing, the tools and everything that people are using. And if you buy your stuff on DriveThruRPG, now you've got it in Roll20. If you have used Demiplane ever to build characters, now you've got that in Roll20. They're just going to keep sucking stuff up. But the integration is just not great. I mean, I'm really, really disappointed. Even with this new upgrade, this new, I forget what the rocket ship or whatever they're calling it, this new release, which is supposed to be so much better. I mean, I guess it's better than it was in 2012, but that's not much of a compliment.
Yeah, I've never used Demiplane, nor have I ever used D&D Beyond.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So to me, it just seems, I feel like, it's cool that they're doing this. I'm sure it'll be good for them. But wouldn't your goal, if you want to be a big VTT played by a lot of different people, wouldn't your goal be to have one platform that does what these two different services do? Like, I don't really understand why we need a Demiplane to fart around in, and then we go play on Roll20.
Right.
Wouldn't your goal be to have it all in one place, all kind of working off of the same system?
You would think.
I don't know.
Yeah, that's what that's really what WotC should have been. They should have looked at everybody that's got an interesting take on how to run a VTT, done their little 3D thing, done an amazing D&D Beyond. Well, I guess they integrated. Like Sigil is part of Roll20, or not Roll20, is part of D&D Beyond now. So they were integrating that. So they basically were doing a Roll20 Demiplane thing themselves. And just have it all there. But yeah, I think I agree with what you're saying. It should be one platform, because this synchronizing subscriptions and synchronizing services is going to have problems. You're going to be dealing with support, to resolve issues, billing issues, and importing issues and things. So yeah, it's not going to be a perfect thing. It's going to be a half measure kind of cobbled together, like, oh yeah, it moves over. Oh, it doesn't see all the fields correctly, so your character name actually will go into that's their background, but we'll fix that eventually. It's going to be a little dodgy, probably for a while. That's why they're doing this extended beta. But yeah, it's a funny thing. And the interesting thing that they talked about during the pandemic especially is the number of people that were playing 5e that never cracked one of the books or even opened a PDF that created a character in D&D Beyond, and then played in Roll20 or whatever the or even just Discord with what the dungeon master wanted, and that was their interaction with D&D. They basically had a free account on D&D Beyond, made their one character and played, and that was all. And I think that was where the claims of under monetization came from. WotC is they realized that a lot of people were playing their game and not really buying their products. They were very loosely participating. There was a dungeon master that was probably invested, but most of the players weren't. Yeah. So Demiplane is kind of that same thing. It's going to keep people, from buying the physical books, owning, and if they're going to meet physically and have their character sheet. I mean, I got to say though, the one big advantage that's happened with VTTs, if you get people to put their character sheets into a VTT and you're playing in person, nobody shows up without their character sheet. That happens so often in kind of OSR, like meeting in person is like, oh, I don't have a character sheet, because they have a physical piece of paper with everything written on it. When it's digital and anybody can log in and download it, or anybody can log in and look at the stats and update it. That's pretty cool.
I have a simple fix for that. You just keep all the goddamn character sheets.
That's what started to happen. It's like, okay, class, let me collect those papers, your permission slips. Yeah, because you can't rely on... And it was like, the players that show up, you had that kid in your class, his homework was like folded like 6 times, stuffed in his pocket, and he had a stub of a pencil, and that's how he showed up for class. Like, that's how some players show up. You got dice? Anybody have dice?
So way back in 3rd edition D&D time, there was this time when Will was going to run a 3rd edition game. And, that was when it was relatively new, and the player's handbook came with that CD-ROM in it. In fact, well, I don't want to spoil it, but I reference it in that video. But, cool. That CD-ROM just had like this auto character generator thing on it that people just thought was the most amazing thing in the world, because because back then it was kind of a big deal, we had this one friend who he basically like it would when you printed your character sheet, it would say like it would basically have like a version thing on it, so you could tell how many times they re-rolled their character.
Oh wow.
And homeboy re-rolled his character like 100 times. To get just the ridiculous attributes,
right.
And there's something to be said for just rolling some dice with other people around.
Yeah, that's true. Got to get that 18 strength. Wow. Yeah, so it's interesting. We'll see how this develops. Roll20 is obviously pressing their advantage, taking the lead. Although I would say, like, for my money, I think Foundry, connectivity issues aside, Foundry is definitely the best tabletop out there right now, if you can deal with the running your own server. But for affordability, no subscription and everything, it's amazing. But we'll talk about that later.
I actually have that made me think of a question. So with this Demiplane, is it if you have players who need to use it, are they able to get on through the game master or whoever paid for a subscription kind of thing? Like, how are they handling that?
Yeah, Demiplane is its own account, and you have I don't think it has a subscription. I think you just register a free account and then you buy content. And then you can share content with people. And now, if you link it to Roll20, then the DM can share, or the game master can share the source books with you, so you'll have it unlocked on both platforms. So yeah, it's basically just a a digital rule book and character builder, but really gorgeously presented. Like it's a lot of fun just to look through it, and because I was doing that, but it is made for campaign play. So that's the thing that's odd about them having the Alien RPG on there is there's no cinematic adventures. It's just like here's your ship sheet, here's your character sheets, and you'll be tracking all of this. And so it is a nice way. It's gorgeously designed. Works well, very functional, and like is really like immersive as far as whatever game you're playing. But it is just a digital character sheet, so you can log on to it on your phone. It has a nice mobile presentation. It's a nice desktop presentation, so you could play with that as your character sheet at the table. Either on a tablet or a phone. And I think that's kind of how people had been using it, because when we first talked about Demiplane, it was like, it's a character sheet, because before they really went all in the D&D Beyond thing, it was just digital rules. So this is a bigger integration. I guess once the D&D Beyond creator came aboard, he said, we're just going to make this into D&D Beyond and then let any company kind of integrate it and have that same functionality. Because if you're coming from 5e and D&D Beyond, it makes it so much easier. You already get it. You already get how to do it, because it's going to be a very similar interface. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. So are you exhausted and tired of apps yet for tabletop? I got one more for you. So this was a big announcement that happened just recently. Ronnie got on YouTube, and they announced the Halo Flashpoint app. So already Mantic has a really nice companion that integrates all of their rule sets, all of the stat lines, every game that they have that's not a board game, like every miniatures game. If you subscribe for like $3 or $2, I think, you get all the rules to the games. And so you can basically play any of their games, current rules, and build lists, store lists, and everything with their companion. They will soon be adding to that this Halo Flashpoint game, which has been a huge success for them. They keep talking about how they're shipping so many of these kits. They are really shocked how overwhelming the demand is for this. And I think it's just because people have a lot of nostalgia for Halo and Bungie, remembering their old Xbox. And Bungie sucks now. I think they're owned by Microsoft. And so that nostalgia, maybe this miniatures game brings back a lot of the fun that they had, once upon a time. So Mantic has just launched a Halo Flashpoint. And so these apps go even beyond just list building, current rule set, list building, and stat lines for the units. You can also run events, and it's a pretty impressive thing. So right now, if you just pick up one of their boxed starter sets, you're already like ready to play with Halo. But they're going to start releasing, or they already have, but they're going to be now consistently updating it with different little factions and different smaller boxes. So list building is going to become more important. You can try that out all for free right now while they are kind of in beta with this app for Halo, and then I think eventually it's going to get integrated into their companion. So it's all free right now, and will eventually be part of their services. So from Mantic, considering recent tariff developments and the high demand of rules and gameplay content, we've accelerated our plans for digital support. Here at Mantic HQ, in the background of releasing new content and products, our digital team has been eagerly building new tools and resources to make gaming all the better. We've been eagerly waiting to show this blog off to you, and now it's time to blow the lid off this latest creation. So the Halo Flashpoint app. So it's always up to date, the full rule set, including all FAQs and errata, a list builder, free to all users. So select your faction, choose the units, and you can use this app to submit your lists to tournaments. So if there's tournaments in your area, just through the app, you can submit lists. You don't have to deal with email or any other interaction. You can also run official events with 9 or more players on this app. And the subscriber tier, which I think is coming, will give you the ability to build unlimited lists, and we'll have but there will always be a free version of the list building. The organized play free tier will let you find events, run tournaments with 8 players or less. Subscribers will let you do ranked events without limits. And so they have ranking boards. So if you do an official tournament, you can report the winners. They get they get awarded points and they get ranked on a board. So more from Mantic. The advantage of running larger events is when you get 9 or more players, your event becomes ranked, and all registered players receive ranking points on our global and national player tables, which will grant them special rankings on their service records and the chance to win exclusive prizes at the end of the season. So they're going to use these points to kind of award their best players things from their ranges. So they have. There's also the rules and more. So in addition to all of the features, they've now added PDF releases of the main rules and wargame expansions. So if you wanted to keep the rules handy as a PDF, you have the option to do that through the app as well as the web store. So yeah, for the next 3 months, this is going to be in beta, and you can do mess around with it as much as you want. Once it's out of beta, it'll be included in the compendium or the companion, which will be $1.17 a month. If you probably pay annually. If you pay per month, it's $2.99 a month, and it gives you literally everything that Mantic does. So it's pretty impressive. If you pay another $3 a month, you get everything digitally that they're releasing. So Mantic is giving a lot away under a really modest subscription, compared to other platforms. So Mantic is going all digital, and I think that's they kind of hinted that that's their countermeasure to make sure that you don't have to wait for rule books to get out of customs or get their tariffs paid. You just have access to all of that. So what do you think, Matt? You liking the free rules?
I am. I think I'm not a Halo person to be honest, but Mantic is they're being very proactive on a lot of fronts, it seems like, and just thinking about the tariffs, I'm wondering if, because they led with the whole STL thing, it seems like, and STLs might be there might be a booming industry there now because of the tariffs, and
it's true.
But I'm trying to think, because it's like, well, the 3D printers are made in China, I'm sure.
Yes. So if the printers don't break down, you'll be fine.
I'm sure the little spools of resin or whatever it's called are made in China. So it's like, I think it's going to like boom at first and then hit like some kind of natural ceiling as the price of 3D printers goes up and up because of the tariffs.
Yeah.
But they're poised to get the most out of that, like light years ahead of GW. And so I mean, good on them. Like, they're very proactive. This app stuff is awesome. Again, I'm not a Halo person, but it's cool that they're thinking about that stuff. So if I ever do play a Mantic game, I will know that it's supported, So yeah, no, I think it's all positive.
Good. Yeah, I was really pleased. I've been a subscriber to the Mantic, their little early bird bundle that they had for their rules and their digital stuff since the beginning. So I'm coming up on 1 year. I think I've already just passed that 1 year, and they have a 12-month. So that's the nice thing that both My Mini Factory does with their tribes, and Patreons do that sometimes, but Mantic is doing that as well. They have loyalty rewards. So like every 3 months, every 6 months, every 9 months, and then 12, they give you, if you've been a member subscriber all that time, they give you additional content, and it's only going to be available if you were funding that the whole time. So and it's the way they price things is so perfect. Doesn't make any sense to cancel it. It's just not that much money, and you get so much, and you got a huge, digital library of Mantic's Armada game, all the ships for the Mantic's Armada game, all kinds of modifications, different customizations, bases and terrain and everything for all of their games. So it's a really nice idea, and I think they did well, like kind of filling a gap that probably Games Workshop is never going to address, because they're all in on building new warehouses and shipping facilities and getting those partnerships with China all nice and strong. All right, one more virtual tabletop story for you, but this is a good one. This is I think this is someone who's quickly becoming a personal hero of mine. So the founder of creator of Foundry VTT, so you don't have that alliteration. The creator of Foundry has some words about Hasbro. They don't like what Hasbro is kind of doing in terms of the ideas of AI and tabletop role-playing games, and he called it a betrayal. So a betrayal of the creative people who made the tabletop role-playing industry what it is. And that's very true, because it's a very DIY industry, and then just to have these garbage tools that are taking away from the artists, from basically diminishing the value of a lot of this stuff. So generative AI, I like how this article started out. Generative AI has gotten its deep learning tentacles into many parts of gaming life. So WotC and D&D have been caught accidentally using AI art in their source books and their marketing and all that good stuff. And the CEO of Hasbro, of course, has been on the record as really liking AI, but assuring you that they don't use it. But it's really cool, and he personally uses it. But D&D is really going to be careful about that. So there was an interview, I think this was PC Gamer, an interview with Andrew Clayton, the creator of the virtual tabletop Foundry. And so he's conflicted with this. He's got a very strong opinion about AI, but they have to do business, with WotC. They have recently announced a partnership. So Clayton says, my personal stance is on this is that AI-generated content remains for the foreseeable future an exploitative technology that unfairly harvests the intellectual properties of artists, writers, and designers to produce soulless and derivative works without their consent. So until legal and ethical challenges of generative AI are more adequately addressed, I don't foresee this happening. I don't think generative AI can responsibly be employed in our industry without it being a betrayal of the creative people who made the tabletop industry what it is in the first place. So very well said. Yes, and unfortunately, Chris Cox has been was quoted as saying significantly and liberally using AI in his own games, his own campaigns, with his 30 to 40 fellow D&D gamers, because this is a guy that DMs every day of his life. Chris Cox, that guy, because he sits on his mega yacht running D&D campaigns, whatever.
No, he doesn't. I'm sure ChatGPT scripted that for him.
Right. Yeah, that's exactly right. So, so also talking about, this is a Cox quote, I believe. There's not a single person who doesn't use AI somehow for either campaign development or campaign character development or story ideas. That's a clear signal that we needed to be embracing it. I think he's referring to the people that he runs games with. So they all use AI because they're a bunch of tech nerds, and he brought them over from Microsoft probably. So of course they use AI because they have no creative bones in their bodies. But Clayton goes on to say, so he concedes that generative AI content can have a role to play in private home games where generative text or images to quickly supplement storytelling or improvisational aids or accessibility tools. So it's important for users to understand it is actively disenfranchising human creators. So it's to be used as a tool, not a replacement. I mean, you should spend some time writing your backstory, not saying, I'm an elf with a dead family, enter, and see what ChatGPT says about that. I was really impressed. So unfortunately, this is the conflict though, because in February, Foundry VTT has officially partnered with D&D, for content on their VTT. So they have a platform, a digital platform. They're competing with Roll20. Roll20, has D&D content, so Foundry needs that as well. So they're going to have to deal with, if the content that's coming out from Wizards of the Coast is AI generated. They're incorporating that into their platform. It's not a great situation to be in, but it's good that he's taking this stance and so eloquently said, what we're all thinking is that this should not be something you're trying to sell to us. And so it's possible that it's inescapable. So he was asked by PC Gamer, so do you think Foundry will have AI in the future once the technology is better legislated? Clayton's response was, nope. nope. So they have no plans to figure out how to integrate this. And I thought it was this article, but I think it was something else where I saw that there was somebody quoting that companies that think they've got some sort of advantage by jumping on this AI, this generative AI, early, and that it's going to give them an advantage in the marketplace, are actually fooling themselves. They're actually going to be surrendering talent and assets. They're not going to be hiring the people that are going to be doing good things for their company, producing strategies that are successful. They're just going to be leaning on these really feeble, really simplistic tools that, in terms of what they eventually, will be someday. And thinking this is somehow the future. So it's actually going to be a disadvantage companies that lean too heavily on this, because they're going to sacrifice the actual human assets of their companies in favor of this. Yeah,
we're already seeing that. And they're going to get caught in this subscription cycle with AI providers. Mm-hmm. The same way corporations are trying to get all of us regular people stuck in subscription cycles for everything,
yes.
know? And eventually there won't really be any more talent. You know what I mean?
Right.
Bad news.
I think that the most depressing thing I saw, and I don't know if this is OpenAI, but one of the AI companies released a statement, and they said, please stop using please and thank you in your AI prompts, because that costs us an additional $150 million a year in processing power just for the AI to deal with those words. So you need to be as rude and direct and as autistic as possible when you talk to AI, and not treat them like a person and not be nice to them, because that costs money. Isn't that depressing?
Oh, okay. So use as much flowery language as I possibly can. Check.
Yes, your purple prose must go into every prompt and burn these things out. Yeah.
Dearest Chat GPT, old chap, please do me the great courtesy of generating blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Yes. I would totally do that.
Data centers are going to be bursting into flame after Matt tries to ask to simply answer a simple question. Yeah, so that's where we are with that. So good to see. My frustration, unfortunately, we have very paranoid, very conservative ISPs in Japan, so I'm having a little trouble running Foundry, but there is Foundry hosting. There is good hosting companies that will run your Foundry servers and make it accessible, to everyone. So that's going to have to be a solution that we move to. So I have my little discount, my little cheap trial for Roll20, but as soon as that's done, I think we're back on Foundry, because their quality control and their content is so much better. Like if you buy a module from them that's produced by one of the studios, it's an officially licensed module, it's guaranteed to be beautiful, work well, have everything integrated. You're just clicking on things on a character sheet to perform roles and things. Whereas Roll20 is not that. I'm seeing a lot of strange, royalty-free photos showing up, and they just don't. They don't maybe control. They don't quality control the way they should. And also, Foundry has so much unofficial, because it's open source, so much unofficial support for every game system. Mm-hmm. Anything you can think of, no matter how obscure, someone has probably at least built the character sheets in Foundry, and the world, the mechanics for the game rules, and the character sheet in Foundry. It's impressive.
Yeah, Foundry is interesting because I'm glad that you're the one running Foundry.
Yes, yes.
Because it just feels so much like you have to be more knowledgeable of how that system works to get what you want out of it. I mean, it's clear it works. We played and had a lot of fun on it. But I'm glad you're running it. Like, I know Alchemy doesn't quite have the same bells and whistles, but it does have, just for my brain, just so much more. Just I can put a thing in there and here we go. And they're getting there. I feel like they're working towards a lot more customization, but that's why I'm one of the bad ones. I'm talking to you on a Mac, and I'm got my iPhone sitting next to me because I don't want to think about how this shit works.
It just works.
Like,
Tim Cook told you that.
That's why I drive an automatic. I don't drive a stick, because technology is supposed to make your life easier.
Right. I see what you're doing. Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting because there is a lot of that, like with the whole scripting thing, the whole, like, on the top tier subscription for Roll20, you have access to all these scripts and mods and kind of widgets and stuff that you can actually customize. So you can kind of really customize this play experience to exactly what you want, but you're basically doing like low-level software development for them. And I think with Roll20, I think you can share it, like on GitHub or whatever. If you write some scripts or make a library of functionality, you can share it, but there's no marketplace for it. Like, you can't sell it. Like, Foundry doesn't have a way to kind of integrate things the way, or not Foundry, Roll20 doesn't have a way to integrate and sell things the way Foundry does. Like, any little thing, any little, kind of ease of use or anything that makes your life simpler running Foundry, and somebody wrote a little thing for it, it can be downloadable, installable as a module, and they can also, sell it if they want. So I think that's a great way to do things. But it does, there is a time involvement. Like, already running a game involves a lot of preparation and time, and then putting the technology and opening ports, port forwarding, and things are not something that the DMs and GMs should have to deal with. So, I know what you're saying, Matt, but for those people that are inclined that way or enjoy that kind of tinkering and surprising their players with, like, look, you just click here and it rolls all the dice, if they like that kind of thing, it definitely has an amazing amount of flexibility, and that you can share, that's easily shared with the entire community. Roll20 doesn't do that because they're trying to figure out how to make a buck off of really low quality content.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, that is going to do it for this week. So thank you so much, Matt, for filling in. And I will be back online with Matt shortly, in about 24 hours, to continue our Fallout RPG. So tune into our actual play. So subscribe to the channel to get notified when we go live. And we'll go live on Twitch and YouTube and Facebook if you're there somewhere, and we will be doing our live stream of that. So I think we're gonna have all the players, and we may have a big fun climactic something, or a lot of negotiation. If you're gonna Yojimbo your way through this and play both sides, we'll see.
I don't think so. What's got me laughing about this Fallout game is Will's not usually the one to go full murder hobo, and he has like embraced the dark side in this Fallout game.
Yes,
and it's pretty funny.
Yeah, I think just firing an energy weapon and realizing, wow, this is really powerful. I think I can do this. Harnessing the power of the sun. Yes, so tune into that. And so, Matt, where can people find you?
I'm on Blue Sky and Instagram. It's at Hargald, HAARGALD,
cool.
Where I'm sharing game posts and stuff. And, I am talking some politics. So if you don't want to see any of that, don't go on there. But I do talk about game stuff and share all our live streams and my thoughts on the games we've played and stuff like that. And Can be fun. How about you?
So I am due to do another monthly cartoon live stream. So I draw a cartoon, a single panel gag cartoon, and doing that live on both YouTube and Twitch. If you want to read that cartoon, I've got about 20 years of it in the archive on GoComics. So gocomics.com/domestic abuse. And then sometime next week or maybe the week after, I'll get to the monthly live stream, and you'll get a notification both on this channel and the Abuse Cartoons. So Abuse Cartoons on YouTube and Twitch and all social media if you want to see what's going on there. If you like what we're doing here on the weekly, consider becoming a weekling. You can do that at patreon.com/upturntable, and that'll be the kind of the tier that'll let us know what you want to see more of on our kind of weekly roundup. If you're tired of tariff talk, or you want some more wargaming or less D&D or whatever you may be interested in. And there's also some other levels to let us know what you're following on the channel as far as the actual play content, the lore videos, just reviews, unboxings, all that kind of stuff. And just take a look at that. You can also do the same thing by becoming a member on YouTube. There's a join button below this video or on our YouTube channel page to get the same benefits. The only thing that you're getting on Patreon that's different is the RSS feed of the audio from all of our live streams. And I think I'm going to put our VSN postmortem audio. We had a nice recording of that. So I think I'll put that as an audio file as well. So about 90 minutes of our discussion of our VSN campaign will go on the Patreon feed as well. So that's the biggest difference. YouTube hasn't quite worked that out yet, how they want to handle RSS feeds and for their members. So that'll do it for this week. We'll be back again next week. Thank you so much, Matt, for helping me out with this week's episode, and see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.